Almost a year ago, I saw a video in which someone made an AI that, through trial and error, learned to play Pokemon. Which got me thinking, would AI actually be helpful to someone who's never played Pokemon before in their first playthrough of a game? Well, no, because the game itself isn't really all that hard, it is made for kids, but something like a Nuzlocke, where fainting is permanent, you can only catch one Pokemon per route, and must nickname all your Pokemon certainly can be. So I turned to the most readily available AI assistant, ChatGPT, who will be making every single decision throughout this journey. But I didn't know just what it would put me through. You are my least favorite thing of all time, ChatGPT. Losing countless Pokemon that I would grow very attached to, all to see if it can even beat the game. I start things off by having it choose a starter, to which it says Snivy, and this is where things start to go downhill already, because the first rival battle was up next, for which it told me to get my new Snivy Verdant to level 17 so it evolves and learns Vine Whip, which wasn't exactly going to happen considering you literally cannot leave this area without starting the battle. But after rewording my questions to be a bit less broad, just asking what moves I should use once in the battle, I won easily with a tackle. I then moved on to the first route to catch my first Pokemon, and this is where things will differ a bit from a normal Nuzlocke. Because usually, you're forced to just catch the first Pokemon you encounter in an area, and if you KO it, you just don't get an encounter. But for this challenge, I'll be asking ChatGPT what it thinks the best Pokemon for me to catch in each area is. And it told me 4 Pokemon you can't even find on the route. So once again I changed up my question, something I did a lot throughout this challenge, and it finally told me to catch a Purloin who I nicknamed Shadow. And unfortunately, so far, nicknaming Pokemon seems to be the only thing that ChatGPT can get right. And as true as that was at the time, things do get better as I traversed the route without an issue, catching a Pidove named Arrow, and on the way made it up to Flockacy Ranch, where ChatGPT said I should catch a Mareep, something I thought was going to be a huge mistake as Riolu was also an option at the time, and would have made the first gym being normal type very easy. But I didn't know how big of an impact Zephyr the Mareep would have later on. For now, I asked ChatGPT where to go, and it actually gave me some pretty good instructions, saying to visit Alder's house where I would fight the trainers inside. I explored the surrounding routes like it said when it was time to prepare for the first gym. And you know the first thing it said to me? Catch a fighting type, even though I literally had the option to earlier. But it's fine, I'm sure the battle will still be pretty easy as long as I listen to it and get my team up to around level 12 to 14. And I didn't. Well, I almost did. I got the whole team up to level 12 with the gym trainers and wild Pokemon after almost 2 hours of grinding and really just wanted to challenge the gym. This will be a bit of a reoccurring issue throughout this challenge. But with my team mostly the right level except for Shadow, I challenged the gym. However, because I have never played this game before, I thought it couldn't be that hard. I was very, very wrong, even though it looked like all was going good at the start, almost KOing his Patrat with a Thundershock. Then it hit me, so I asked ChatGPT what to do and it said to switch, when Patrat did half of Arrow's health too. So I switched into Verdant, and the exact same thing happened. So I healed, and the only thing I could hope for was for Patrat to get fully paralyzed, which it had because of Thundershock on Mareep. When at last it did, letting me outspeed and hit it so I could live the next turn and finish it off. After all that... I had lost my starter, and with the rest of my team very low, I healed Arrow at the sacrifice of Shadow the Purloin, allowing me to KO Patrat with a quick attack. But it's not over just yet, and this is where things start to get really good, because I end up doing a bunch of chip damage to Lillipup with Arrow, but after getting too low, I am forced into Zephyra, who I use to paralyze Lillipup, and am left right here, with Lillipup on like 1 HP and me equally low, so I asked ChatGPT to make the calculation. Will my Mareep outspeed the Lillipup? And according to ChatGPT, it will, so I went for it with literally the entire challenge on the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. If ChatGPT is wrong about this, I don't win this battle. I outsped! It hit!
Unfortunately, I'd lost Verdant to an unlucky crit, but I was just glad I had won the battle and moved past it pretty easily, asking ChatGPT where to go next, telling me to go east to Verbank City and giving me perfect directions there, evolving Zephyra into a Flaffy on the way. I made it to Verbank and immediately bolted to the Verbank complex to get my next encounter, and after asking it what I should catch, it told me a Growlithe, which I liked a lot, as fire is just generally a strong type, especially this early on. But then things went rapidly downhill because I then asked ChatGPT what level my team should be for the next gym, saying level 16 to 18 would be optimal. But dude, while grinding up my team for the next gym, I made some horrendously grave mistakes, mostly due to my impatience using speed up to grind up as fast as possible. But you'll see.
Am I actually gonna get hit by this? Oh, I should have. Oh no.
Dude.
This is why you don't use speed up, dude.
And my first thought watching this back was, why didn't I use rare candies to level up my team more for the most authentic ChatGPT run possible?
Why is this thing not dead? No, 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 no.
I feel like this is the most normal outcome for what I am simulating. So as much as I thought this was a bad thing at the time, I think it's honestly just realistic.
Another fallen soldier.
Cause accidental deaths will always happen, but I just had to learn from them and start grinding more, as I didn't want to hack in rare candies, at least not now, because I wanted this to simulate a normal playthrough as if someone playing their first ever Nuzlocke was using ChatGPT as help. So I moved on, deciding to immediately challenge the gym, which you may think is kind of a bad idea considering all I have left is Zephyra. But it was strong and I was confident, so with ChatGPT telling me to use Thundershock to do damage and just use a potion whenever I got even slightly low, I literally just brute forced the fight with Zephyra. Then ChatGPT forces me into Pokestar Studios and then to battle these plasma grunts when finally I am able to take the ferry over to Castelia City in what has to be one of the coolest cutscenes in all of Pokemon. The big city, and man, I love this part of these games, but without wasting any time, I asked ChatGPT where to go next, saying to do the Team Plasma plot in the Castelia sewers, catching a Zubat and getting the gym leader back to his gym. When I went up to Route 4 to get a Sandile named Rex and to Relic Passage to get a Roggenrola named Quarry. Two Pokemon weak to bug types, which as you can imagine would make the upcoming bug type gym pretty problematic, but I was at least happy with Rex for the longevity of the challenge, having a generally very good type and move pool. And I still had Zubat, who was a flying type, to deal with the upcoming bug types.
Oh my god. What? No.
Yep, poor dude was only on the team for half an hour before he bit the dust, and I know this isn't a great look for me in a challenge where I'm supposed to test ChatGPT's knowledge, and I'm the one making all the mistakes, but I promise it only makes it just all the more realistic. And so far, ChatGPT has done pretty well directing me, especially in battle, beating the next gym leader Burr's Swadloon with Zephyra, Dwebble with Rex, and back to Zephyra for Livani. I then asked ChatGPT what to do next, telling me to go to Route 4 where I would beat Colress in a battle with its help, and then went to the Desert Resort where it would tell me to catch a Darumaka named Blazeheart. ChatGPT also said to go to the Relic Castle, giving me another encounter, a Yamask named Ethereal. Next was Nimbasa City, where I immediately wanted to challenge the gym, so I asked ChatGPT what level I should be, to which it said 28 to 32. So I did just that, evolving Rex in the process, who I was confident could pretty much solo the entire electric type gym. But ChatGPT had something to say. Because when asking it what to do against Emolga, it told me that Emolga was immune to ground type moves because of its flying type, which is true, and immediately after said to just use a ground type move on it. But admittedly, after listing my moveset, it changed its mind and told me to use Crunch, KOing her only real threat, making her Flaffy and Zebstrika a breeze for Rex, who was quickly becoming one of my favorite team members alongside Zephyra. ChatGPT then told me to progress in the story, saying to grab a Minccino on Route 16, evolving Quartz and Zephyra along the way, and things were finally starting to look good, getting some actually good long-term Pokemon for the team.
No way, dude.
I honestly don't know what I was thinking, still fighting at such low HP, but once again, a death while grinding up the team. But fortunately, it was only Ethereal, who I wasn't very attached to and didn't have amazing typing for the rest of the game. So I moved on pretty easily, getting to the Driftvale City Bridge. But before crossing, I backtracked to the Lost Lorn Forest, because the next gym is ground type and this forest is full of grass types, so hopeful that ChatGPT would suggest one of these grass types for me to catch, I asked it, and it told me Cottony, a great counter for the next gym, as long as it doesn't die before we get there. But it was time I crossed the bridge into Driftvale, exploring the town some before evolving Petalpuff the Cottony into a Whimsicott with a Sunstone I got earlier, and making my way to Route 6 to catch a Pokemon. So I asked ChatGPT.
Please be Meryl. Meryl. Let's go, baby. Dude, Meryl is such a good Pokemon for Nuzlocke. Azumarill is so strong. It's so bulky.
And after adding Azure Spark to the team, I finished exploring the route and made it up to Chargestone Cave to get another encounter, a Pharaoh Seed named Bolt Shield. Then it was time to grind, this time without losing any Pokemon, evolving Blazeheart and Marill in Chargestone Cave where I thought I had to be to progress in the story. Because when asking ChatGPT what to do when I got to Driftvale, it said to go to the cave and through it to the next town, which was just wrong. And normally it would just correct itself if I was like, oh, are you sure about that? Or just reworded the question. But it took me a while to get it to tell me to beat the gym first, when finally it did. And with my team almost entirely fully evolved and around the right level of 32 to 34, I took down the gym like nothing, even with ChatGPT telling me to use Blazeheart, a fire type, against his Krokorok and Excadrill. This made me notice that it somehow got a Sticky Barb, an item that damages the holder each turn, which I have no idea how it even got, but it wasn't an issue for now, finishing things off with Azumarill. Now, with the team more complete than ever, I confidently made my way over to the Pokemon World Tournament like ChatGPT told me to, forcing me to just use 3 of my Pokemon in all of the coming battles, eventually choosing Blazeheart, Zephyra, and Rex. And so I went into round 1 versus my rival, and with ChatGPT's help, used Flare Blitz to take it out. Next was his Simipour, so I asked ChatGPT who I should use to take down the water type, to which it said not to switch.
Simipour is a water type Pokemon, and Darmanitan's fire type moves will have a type advantage. Consider using Flare Blitz or Fire Punch? No.
Almost certainly ending in Blazeheart's death. So I gave it another chance to change its answer, and it wouldn't budge. So I used Fire Punch, which came up just short, and inevitably I had to watch Blazeheart die.
Does the barb kill me? No.
Yeah, totally forgot about that Sticky Barb, but how does everything seem to be my fault? Actually, no, that was all on ChatGPT. I shouldn't even have been in that spot in the first place. Right? I finished the rest of the tournament, but not without another real scare against Cloris's Clink, who ChatGPT wasn't worried about at all, saying just to crunch, almost losing Rex too.
Oh no, I did not know that hit multiple times.
However, it assured me I would outspeed next turn, winning the fight. But losing Blazeheart hurt a lot, just as the team was finally starting to feel complete.
I've been here one too many times.
But I had to keep going, with ChatGPT sending me south of the Pokemon World Tournament to Team Plasma's ship and dealing with all the grunts there, heading back to Chargestone Cave to finally go through it, when I saw a little passageway that I'd missed, and upon heading inside found out that it was Relic Passage, where I hadn't gotten an encounter yet. So I asked ChatGPT which Pokemon to catch, saying a Drillbur named Molten, a fantastic encounter who I would promptly add to the team. Now it was finally time for Chargestone Cave, and soon after Mistralton City, where I would immediately head north to get an encounter on Route 7, and this was a bit of a weird one, because on the route there is this guy who offers to trade an Emolga for a Gigalith. And if you remember, I still have Quartz the Bulldor in my PC and stopped using it, because Gigalith is a trait evolution which I cannot do. So I decided to treat this Gigalith like a completely different Pokemon, because usually if I already had one of the Pokemon on a new route, I would just remove it from the list of things ChatGPT could tell me to catch, but decided to give it the option of catching an Emolga to trade, which it chose. So I caught an Emolga and traded for a Gigalith. This made me more than ready for the 6th gym, which is what ChatGPT said to do next, so I destroyed all the trainers and swept her team with Zephyra and my new Gigalith. But before moving on, I decided to backtrack to Relic Passage to catch a Volcarona, a guaranteed encounter that ChatGPT approved of me catching. So I named it Solaris and asked if I should put it on the team, and it told me to replace Rex, one of my favorite members, saying its dark type overlaps with Gigaliths, even though it just doesn't. Meanwhile, I had 2 grass types on my team, Petal Puff and Bolt Shield, but I obliged not just because I had to, but because it meant when I inevitably do lose another Pokemon, I will have a good replacement for it. I kept exploring Route 7 and made it to the Celestial Tower, where I would catch a Litwick, and spent about an hour arguing with ChatGPT about where to go, wandering around doing everything it said, just not getting anywhere. When backtracking, crossing the Driftvale drawbridge, I encountered a Ducklet accidentally, and it is the only thing that spawns there, which I didn't know, so I caught it. When finally it told me to go to Lentimus Town, where I would make my way to Reversal Mountain and ask ChatGPT what to catch for a Pokemon.
Trapinch might be the best choice that evolves into Flygon, which would give you a Dragon type coverage. Oh my god, mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen, ChatGPT made a good decision for once.
So I caught a Trapinch named Dune, another amazing encounter as its Dragon type after evolving will be incredible for the next gym, being Dragon type, immediately putting it on the team. Once again with the team now looking very good, I made it out of the mountain and cave to Undella Town where my rival would fight me, taking out his Unpheasant with Gigalith like ChatGPT said. But then was his Simipour, the one who took Blazeheart from me earlier.
No.
So I asked ChatGPT how to deal with it.
Gigalith. Please don't be Gigalith. Gigalith. No. Oh, dude, this might be the end of the road for Gigalith. I'm not even gonna lie. Oh, no. No, no. This thing is my least favorite Pokemon. This thing is my least favorite Pokemon, and you are my least favorite thing of all time, ChatGPT.
Another fallen soldier down to the same Simipour, finishing the battle with ease, and this one was entirely on ChatGPT, which made it hurt less because there was nothing I could do about it. But after finishing the fight, I put Gigalith to rest, replacing it with Molten the Drillbur, and finally making some progress onto the next route, catching a Mienfoo, but when fighting a random trainer, this happened.
Okay, that's on me.
This one hurt, with Azurespark being on the team for so long. I will say, fortunately the next route had an area to surf, getting me a Staryu named Aurora for my encounter, and after evolving it with a Water Stone I got earlier, I added it to the team. No Azumarill, but it would do. And even though I had just lost 2 valuable team members, things started looking up as I made my way to the end of Route 13 where a wild Cobalion was waiting for me, a legendary Pokemon with an amazing type all before the 7th gym. So I asked ChatGPT what it thought of me catching it, to which it said it was up to me but soon after gave its approval. So with Mienfoo replaced for the much stronger Cobalion, Rex back on the team after evolving him when Gigalith died, and evolving Molten into Excadrill, the team was looking better than ever. Next up was Locanosa Town, which I just passed right through to Route 12, where ChatGPT told me to catch a Heracross, which I killed, so no encounter, but I didn't really need him anyway, because the next encounter on the village bridge mattered much more. But unfortunately, I would soon have an opening on the team, because while fighting a random trainer on the bridge, this happened. I really liked Rex, and this was by far the worst death so far, with him being on the team for so long and being such an integral part of the run, carrying me through the 4th gym, and later on would have countered 2 entire members of the Elite Four with his Dark type. But I would have to find another Dark type and hope that ChatGPT would even let it on the team. But things were still looking alright as I moved on to the next route where I would catch another legendary Virizion because ChatGPT told me to, using it to replace Rex for now. Then I decided to go back to the village bridge to get my encounter before moving on too much. And so I asked ChatGPT and it told me exactly what I wanted to hear. A Lapras, only a 5% encounter but an Ice type, crucial for the next Dragon type gym and eventually Dragon type champion. When finally, after a couple hours of searching, I found Aurora the Lapras. Sound familiar? Yeah, because Starmie also is named Aurora, but fortunately, it replaced Starmie with Lapras on the team, making things far less confusing. Now I was ready for the next gym, heading straight to Opelucid City and right into the gym, beating Drayden's Druddigon and Flygon with Aurora, but then was his Haxorus, who ChatGPT told me not to switch for, almost taking it out with Aurora but just coming up short, and it retaliated with a Dragon Tail, forcing me to switch into Aegis to take it out. I then started out for the next gym, still looking for a Dark type on the way, and with Route 9 having a Poniard on it, I crossed my fingers and hoped ChatGPT would say to catch it and put it on the team. Fortunately, it did both those things, so I asked ChatGPT how to get to the next town, and it gave me perfect, literal pinpoint directions there. Unfortunate that the most intelligent thing it ever said to me was the directions to Homealao City, but it was nice knowing where to go. What I didn't know was the trouble that this little journey would bring to the team. It all happened in this one cave, where things already didn't start off great, almost losing Aurora to a Roggenrola, when I stumbled into Battle Girl Tia and her Heracross, just one Pokemon. So naturally I just clicked Earthquake, which I'd been using against all the trainers in the cave. That was my first mistake. Oh no. No, I go down to that. Then I turned to ChatGPT, who sent out Aurora. This doesn't KO. One hit. 2 integral parts of the team each gone in just 1 hit. Literally the worst possible outcome, as Molten and Aurora were such strong parts of the team, especially Aurora, who was the only solution I had to the champion that wasn't Flygon, who was very risky because Dragon is weak to itself. And to make things worse, this happened so late in the run, meaning there were very few replacement Pokemon I could catch, let alone another Ice type, and even if there was, there would be no guarantee ChatGPT would even pick it or let it onto the team. But as it would turn out, the very cave that took a third of my team from me would have the solution. A seal, one of 3 encounters in the cave and the one that ChatGPT chose to catch, as it evolves into Dugong, an Ice type. And yes, it also named this thing Aurora, real original. Unfortunately, it didn't add it to the team, instead putting Aurora the Starmie and Mienfoo on for now. Next, finally, was Humalao City and the 8th gym, which I was sure I would just sweep with Zephyra, but ChatGPT had its own way of doing things, beating Marlin's Caracosta with Aurora, and then saying to use Sacred Sword on Aegis against his Jellicent.
Sacred Sword is a fighting type move that will hit Jellicent for super effective damage due to its ghost typing. It's immune to it, dog!
Which obviously didn't affect it, making Aegis take some scary damage. I then told it what had happened, and it told me to go into Zephyra, who swept both his Jellicent and Wailord. Now we were in the home stretch, so I started out onto Route 22 where I would come across a Terrakion who ChatGPT would decide to catch. But when battling to try to catch it, it hit me with a Sacred Sword, KOing Aegis.
Dude, Cobalion?
This isn't awful, because honestly I can replace it with Terrakion. Like I said, not a huge deal, but still very unfortunate. However, the encounters in the Giant Chasm sure helped me move past it quickly, because one of the options was Sneasel, an Ice and Dark type, the 2 types I needed most, making it the perfect counter for Chantal and Caitlyn of the Elite Four as well as Champion Iris. And with a lot of luck, ChatGPT let me catch it, replacing Aegis on the team. I then evolved Steel Cut into a Bisharp and caught a Gligar on Route 23 before going through the Giant Chasm to finish the Team Plasma story. Here, things went pretty rough, as while battling one of the grunts, Bisharp fell to a high jump kick from Scrafty.
No, he goes down.
And you would think I would have learned, as this isn't the first time this has happened. But it wasn't all bad, because I still had Sneasel, whose life was now even more important than ever. ChatGPT then put Blitz the Mienfoo back on the team, and after evolving it, I went to finish Team Plasma, where ChatGPT would have its worst fight yet, almost killing Nightwing.
No, that kills. Holy...
Fortunately, after telling it that one more hit would literally kill my Gligar, it said to switch, finishing the fight. And I take it back, this Chorus fight was by far ChatGPT's worst so far. It started with Solaris against his Metang, so I asked ChatGPT if I should be concerned about Metang KOing Solaris considering my current HP, to which it said not to worry.
Oh, that kills.
And sure enough, down Solaris went the very next turn.
No, dude.
Blitz then finished it off, also narrowly beating his Magnezone and Magneton, with Frostbite finishing his Behemoth. Then there was his Klinklang, who ChatGPT said I would KO with a Drain Punch.
Oh my god, dude.
Nightwing then finished it off, but Solaris had been on the team for so long, and I had only just really started using Blitz, and now they were both gone. On the bright side, I hope neither of them were going to make the final team, and this would limit ChatGPT's options to better Pokemon, but we will have to see what it picks later on. For now, I needed 2 replacement Pokemon, and ChatGPT chose Verdant the Virizion and Blaze the Litwick, who I went and evolved into a Chandelure, also evolving Frostbite into a Weavile in the process. Then was the final battle of Team Plasma, Ghetsis, and the bottom line was that Verdant died to his Electros because ChatGPT wasn't even slightly concerned about it, and Blaze died to his Hydreigon because ChatGPT said it would be able to take hits well from it, which clearly was not true. Then ChatGPT sent in Frostbite, who came up a bit short, gave me a small heart attack.
No, this is my only hope.
No, oh my god, and finished the fight. But again, 2 Pokemon that were not great for the Elite Four, so I moved on pretty easily. And then ChatGPT got weirdly smart, deciding to put Titan Sword the Terrakion and Bolt Shield the Ferroseed on the team, which I liked a lot. When at last, I finished exploring Route 23 and had made it to Victory Road, even with ChatGPT's terrible instructions. I made it through the cave very quickly, catching a Golurk and evolving Nightwing as well as Bolt Shield along the way when I made it to my rival, who I took down with ease, getting revenge on that dreaded Simipour one last time.
End it once and for all.
When finally, I made it, the Pokemon League, and after listing my current team and then every Pokemon in my entire PC, it was time for the big question. ChatGPT, are there any changes to the team? And as it listed the final team, I was shocked. Zephyr the Ampharos, Bolt Shield the Ferrothorn, Frostbite the Weavile, Aurora the Starmie, Titan Sword the Terrakion, and Dune the Trapinch, who would evolve into a Flygon. And honestly, I wouldn't have built this team any different. I was ready.
We are officially locked in.
And then I went for it against the first member of the Elite Four, Chantal, using Frostbite for her Cofagrigus, Aurora for her Golurk and Chandelure, and Zephyr for Drifblim, just like ChatGPT told me. The second member, Grimsley, went similarly well, with Aurora taking out his Crocodile and Titan Sword finishing off the rest of his team. Next up was Marshall, the fourth member, skipping Caitlyn for now as I was most scared of her, but you will see why in a second. Because Marshall was incredibly easy with his entire team falling to Aurora. Now for the last one, Caitlyn, with the fight starting as ChatGPT intended, KOing Musharna with Frostbite, but then came out the big problem, her very bulky Reuniclus, and after ChatGPT told me Frostbite's Night Slash wasn't a guaranteed KO, it sent out Bolt Shield, who was slower than it, going down to a Focus Blast.
Oh no, Bolt Shield.
I then switched into Titan Sword, who just barely lived a hit, taking it out with a Rock Slide. The rest of her team were complete pushovers, and even though I had lost Bolt Shield, I was still feeling good as he was literally the only Pokemon I didn't need for the champion fight. So it should be fine, and we're gonna find out, diving straight into the final battle of the run. Iris led with Hydreigon, and I took it down to red with Zephyr's Signal Beam, but it weakened me in the process, so ChatGPT said to heal and keep doing the same, eventually finishing it off. Aggron was up next, going down to Aurora's Surf. Her Lapras fell to a Thunderbolt from Zephyr, and things were going well. Then she sent out Haxorus, and ChatGPT responded with Frostbite, whose Ice Punch came up just short, KOing Frostbite with an X-Scissor. Okay, Frostbite goes down there. ChatGPT then said to go into Aurora, who immediately fell to an X-Scissor, so I sent out Titan Sword, and the very same thing happened. It was looking like I would be swept by Haxorus, just inches away from beating the game. With Zephyr going down to an Earthquake, Zephyr, I think it's over, man. Dune was all I had left. But then, a glimmer of hope. It does use a Dragon Dance. I don't know why on earth it would do that. A misplay from the champion allowing me to KO Haxorus, but she still had an Archeops, and after asking ChatGPT what to do, it said to Earthquake. On a flying type, it told me to Earthquake, which obviously didn't affect it, leading to Dune's death the next turn, losing me the Nuzlocke. But no, I wanted to see if I could do better. No ChatGPT, just me. So I reset the game to right before fighting the champion and hopped straight into it. Zephyr took out Hydreigon and Lapras like before, with Aurora dealing with Aggron, then was Haxorus, who I decided to use Aurora against because I thought it would take its hits well, while I chipped away at Haxorus with Ice Beam. X-Scissor does kill, which oh my gosh, we lived on one. It was a miracle, and a moment that would win me the fight as I healed Aurora to take out Archeops and used Dune to deal with Druddigon. Hey, it really is as simple as that. ChatGPT didn't deserve it. But I did. Even though ChatGPT had lost, I had won, doing what ChatGPT couldn't, which felt amazing. And if there's anything I learned from this, it's that I am just really awful at Nuzlocks, but somehow ChatGPT is way worse. Thank you all so much for watching. This video took over a year to beat and edit, so I really hope you enjoyed.